Greetings and salutations to all of you sweet and lovely listeners out there. It is currently past midnight on a Sunday night or a Monday morning, depending on how you look at it. Um, I was kind of eepy earlier, but I got like a random burst of energy, and I was like, "Oh, I forgot, I got to do the podcast because I'm not going to rob any of you of that." So here we are. Um, Right now, Archie is looking out the window at something, so I'm a little concerned, which I will get to a bit of a story here in a minute as to what happened the other night, but it is perfect for spooky season. So you may notice the mic quality is a little different as was before on some podcasts, and that is because I currently have like three fans running in my place right now, and I'll get into why, but let's just say uh, the boy, the fursuit, the Samson kitty fox that you all know and love, is currently drying after a long day, and we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, it is a bit obstructive in my place currently if I had my regular mic set up. So we're gonna have to deal with this. This is a little more noise canceling and a little bit more isolated. So I think that it'll still work out, you know. So I'll get into what happened. Uh, First, the spooky story that I mentioned. This happened on Friday night. I had gotten home from work and I went to Dairy Queen because I had a coupon. That's what people in America do, I guess. But I'll need to get home and find out that I got the complete wrong thing from Dairy Queen. I had ordered something very specific that I had the coupon for, and it was wrong. So I sat there pondering for a second, should I make the hike all the way back to Dairy Queen and tell them they messed up my order because I went through the drive-through, or should I just sit here and eat it like a true gentleman? I chose the latter. I ate what this other person ordered before me or after me, I don't know, and I it was actually quite good. I can't complain. It was decent for what they ordered. So, you know, can't complain. I got food. That's what matters, right? At the end of the day, you can't sweat the small stuff. I think that's my little plug there is don't sweat the small stuff, even if it's something like someone got your order wrong, or maybe you didn't get the exact change that you wanted back, or something like that. Ask yourself, is it worth the battle? Is it worth making a drive all the way back up there? Or, maybe if you're in a restaurant and like you say, excuse me, this is wrong, that's different because you're right there. But in my case, it just happened to be, I happened to be home and I didn't really want to make the trek all the way back up there. So don't sweat the small stuff, take what you can get and, be appreciative for it. Just pick your battles wisely, is what I'll say. But on top of that, what had happened later that evening, I was sitting on the couch doing something on the computer. Excuse me, hiccups. Oh, these are bad. Excuse me. Um, I was doing something on the computer. Archie was laying next to me, and then, so it's for context. It is autumn currently. It is fall right now, where I live, and in Northeast Ohio, and it it causes a lot of leaves to fall, as you know, and I heard what sounded like footsteps or rustling outside, and it was constant. Like I thought maybe it was a deer, but it sounded the footsteps sounded very intentional, and they sounded heavy, like it was a person. So it sounded like somebody was just circling over and over and over again outside. There weren't any knocks or anything like that, thankfully. I did hear some voices, but that could have been from like adjacent living spaces to me. But this goes on for maybe an hour of just rustling and walking and leaves being disturbed on the ground outside. And I sat there contemplating, like, should I confront the person or thing that's out there? Should I call the authorities? Should I, close the blinds? What should I do? For more context, I like to keep the blinds open when I get home because I like to watch the sunset. That's one of my little joys that I like to do when I get home is watch the sunset as I'm, relaxing or doing whatever. And it had been dark, long past dark at this point that this happened. So I opted to just wait it out. And after about an hour, it stopped. Like, I didn't hear any walking away. I didn't hear any, like, footsteps receding or going in a different direction. It just, like, stopped, like, all of a sudden. And Archie was up on the couch looking intently outside. I don't know what he was looking at. He wasn't making any noise. He just looked very concerned as he was looking outside. So I finally worked up the courage to look outside, and I saw nothing. Nothing was there. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. Of course, it was dark, so I didn't get a very good view, but I didn't see anybody or anything. I then was like, okay, so that's weird. Then I went to sleep and I woke up the next morning and looked outside in the same patio door, and I saw what looked like a perfect circle of leaves were just gone. Like there's a perfect circle outside of just grass and dirt that was completely like absent of leaves. It looked like somebody or something had been walking, like I said, around in circles, and it looked like they were just doing that for about an hour. It could have been anything. Could have been somebody who was under the influence of something. It could have been somebody who was taking a phone call. Maybe that, hence the talking that I heard, very faintly. But I really don't know what to make of that. I surely don't. It, excuse me. It definitely freaked me out a little bit. So from that point on, I was very jumpy at any small noise that could have occurred, like from doors opening to, sometimes people walk their dogs outside behind my patio door. It is a public area, so people walk their dogs. It's a thing. So maybe somebody was just walking their dog and the dog just happened to be circling or something like that. But the thing that gets me the most is I didn't hear any walking away or receding of footsteps, anything like that. Like they just stopped suddenly and that was it. So that was a bit of a spooky encounter that happened. I can't be entirely sure what that was, but all to say, be sure you keep your doors locked. Thankfully, mine was locked and it stayed locked. And make sure that you have the proper measures to protect yourself in times like that. Because you never know what someone's intentions are. If it is a somebody or a something that is looking to do any sort of harm, or maybe just somebody random who just happened to be there at that particular time, still keep caution, keep safe, especially during um, this time of spooky season that we are in, where a lot of people are very active and out and trick or treating and costuming and all this stuff. So it could be anybody looking to take advantage of any situation. So that's something I'll never forget. Something very spooky that happened. Uh, Please be safe during this holiday season and keep yourself in line with the proper precautions. Protect yourself, protect those around you, and you will be just fine. And also drink responsibly. Those of you who are of drinking age, please drink responsibly. Make sure you have people there with you when you are indulging in the alcoholic beverages. Please, if you need a safe place to go, make sure you let them know. Be sure to let them know of your situation. So, all to say, don't drink alone, and please be safe when you do so. Which leads me to my next story that happened on Saturday. It was a chilly night. Uh, there was a little get together happening at my place, so a bunch of friends came over, and the intent was to fursuit, to go out downtown to where I live and fursuit. I thought that would be a lot of fun. This happens every year in my town. I live very close to a college, so it happens quite often that there are things happening downtown, but also during Halloween is when it really starts to pick up and things happen, right? Fun things happen. So we, a bunch of us come over to my house. I have probably like 8 or 9 people in my house, which is a lot of fun. Um, we start getting our drinks together. We start getting our food and having a good time. Getting ready to head downtown for a good time. And I'm excited because I have all my friends. So we're at my place and we're having a good time together. We're enjoying each other's company. We're talking. We're getting ready to head downtown for a good time. So I opt to put on my maid's outfit over my suit because that's a good look and it's always a crowd pleaser whenever I get to be a maid. So I put that on and we head out. So instead of driving, because we want to, again, drink responsibly, we want to walk instead of driving, which I think is the safest option to do. So once we get all suited up, we start to head out. And immediately the photos start happening. Like, oh my gosh, Sammy in a maid outfit. Yeah. People seem to like it. So we start walking and we get all the way down to downtown. And I realize something as I get down there is I'm the only one fursuiting. Everyone else is kind of just, rocking their own costumes or just tagging along, and that's totally cool. You know, you don't always have to suit whenever it calls for it, so I happen to be the representative of that night. We get to our first location, and thankfully, know one of the staff members at this location, and we get all stamped, and in we go. And this place is hopping. Like, there's a lot of people already there, and it's already a good vibe. So, one of the things I want to mention is that there was a very lovely couple of individuals. It was a brother and sister, and the lady, she looked like she had a sort of a Nordic kind of vibe with her costume. She had some like a fur coat and some jewelry and some satchels. She looked really good. She had a whole Renaissance thing going, and her brother looked the spitting image of President Grover Cleveland. Those of you who don't know who that is, Google Grover Cleveland, president, and you will find a picture of him. He looked just like that. Big, bushy mustache, the whole shebang, everything. And what was even funnier was he was wearing a Grover onesie. And we're talking Grover from Sesame Street. So, I got the joke. He was Grover Cleveland. So, that was funny. I did appreciate that costume very much. And he worked it pretty well. The fact Grover onesie, mustache, Grover Cleveland. Haha. Yeah. I honestly love it when people take those ideas and just run with them because, wow, that was impressive. So then we start moving on, and I just want to mention that there are lines of people like packing out. these locations. Like they're college kids and, adults alike, and they are just there's lines and lines of people just yeah, all over the place. And I'm walking down the street, mind you, I'm the only one in suit at this time, and people are shouting, "Oh my gosh, there's a furry! Look, there's a furry!" And I'm just waving and having a good time. Cars are honking at me. It's great. I'm dancing around out in suit and just having a great time. And I ran into some people. They were like, "Oh my gosh, what are you supposed to be?" And I told them, and a lot of people wanted pictures actually. So I got a good amount of selfies and pictures with people, and um, they were asking me questions and that, and it was a really good time just being able to get out there and public suit. And the great thing about fursuiting on Halloween is you have an excuse, right? You have a reason to suit like more intentionally. Not that you don't have a reason to do that anyway, but because you want to. But when it comes to Halloween, people are a little more open-minded, I suppose, and a little more, um, yeah, just overall accepting of said things. So it was really nice to be able to just express and do that and just have a good time with it. So that was a real treat getting to make people happy, get pictures, and people were just enamored. So I just saw it in their face, like, "Oh my gosh, this is an amazing costume." Some of them said, like, "Oh, I love your costume." It's like, "Oh, if only they knew," you know. So we get to our second location. There's a long line, so we are standing in this line for about 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And again, I'm like standing by, waving at people, giving high fives. Some people wanted hugs and pictures and all that. So that's was the little that's what passed the time for the lines, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful for all the people who came up and took a minute to say hi, get a hug, get a picture, that kind of thing, and it was really rewarding. It's always rewarding when we get to do that. As furries, we get to express ourselves and just show the true meaning of fursuiting to anybody who's willing to accept it. Right there. So, to those people out there, I hope I made your night, and I hope I gave you an interesting story to tell your friends. So, yeah. So we get to our next location, and we go in. They ID us. We go in, and it is like packed shoulder to shoulder. Like trying to navigate that place was almost impossible. Like trying to get through all the crowds and all the people and everything that was going on. Oh my gosh. And that was tense. I have to be honest. That was very tense. Having to walk through that and, like get pictures with people as you're trying to walk through and as you're trying to just navigate the room. It was insane. So, but still appreciated all the love that was given and shown, and yeah, like there were some who were a little inebriated, so those were some interesting interactions. And then we finally get to one of the patios, which is pretty open and you can breathe a little bit, outside. And we hang out there for a bit, and then we find out that an additional friend is going to be joining us. So immediately we rush downstairs, and then I had forgotten that I had sent a friend away with $20 in hand to purchase some beverages. And I was like, "Oh my goodness, I forgot all about him." So, uh, so he thankfully eventually found us, and I was able to get my beverage as well as him. So uh, we were able to meet up and get that back into place. We rushed downstairs after basically just getting there. We rushed all the way back downstairs to greet our friend who's joining us, and from there we take some time to sit down in a little gazebo, which was all decked out with lights, so it was really pretty, and just enjoy some good old, comfy cigar time. And to those of you who know me, you know that I occasionally will partake in the smoking of cigars. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't prefer cigarettes. In fact, the times that I've tried them, I've just not been a fan. So, I will occasionally indulge in the cigar smoking art because that's what it is. It's an art, as opposed to a habit like cigarettes. But you know, in that case, I just want to advise that if you're going to do that, please do it responsibly as well. But cigars are a luxury, in my opinion. They're very much um, they're a once in a while thing, which I'm thankful for. They're not something that you get hooked on easily because that's the thing is you don't inhale cigars as opposed to cigarettes. You you puff them, you know. I'm not sure why I'm explaining to you how a cigar works. I'm sure you understand, but if you inhaled them, that would not be good. You would be on the ground coughing for a long time. I should know I have done it by accident, and it does not feel too good. So we were sitting there, we're vibing, having some cigars, and it's getting very brisk and cold out at this point, and we opt to start heading back the way of my place. So we do. Our friend who had appeared for the evening was very kind in driving us back to that area, and so we hop out, and I must have looked like it must have looked like a motorcade because when I stepped out of that car, people were like, "Oh my gosh, look at you!" So once again, it was like, "Oh, we have it made. We have a Fox made." So there were some people who called me a dog, which I thought was kind of funny, and it made me really happy. Even so, I'm not a dog, but it made me happy to just give them that little moment of joy. So we reunite with our friends over at the first location where we were, and then from there we opt to head back to my place because at that point it was like 2 in the morning, and I think we started this endeavor around 10. So we've been out there for a while. So then we make the long trek back all the way to my place, which is thankfully is walking distance, but somehow the walk back was harder than the walk down because the walk back not only is it uphill, but when you've had a couple of adult beverages, it tends to be a little difficult. So my friend was very gracious in handling me. Being a fursuit handler, that is. And I had my paw on his shoulder the whole way. He led me through the dark sidewalks, and we got back to my place safely, I am glad to say. So everybody kind of just piled in my place, and at that point, some people decided to leave. I started to get a headache. I was fighting that and had to lay down for a bit and also indulged in some late night DoorDash, which I can't complain with. And like half the people that were there left and the other half pretty much passed out in my living room. So I woke up the next morning on Sunday with say 3 or 4 bodies just kind of strewn about my place, and I had to do the father thing and be like, "All right, kids, time to get up. Let's go. Come on, time to go home." So they were very gracious, showed mercy, and they woke up and they filed out in a respectful manner. So I am grateful for the friends that I have for reading the signs and hearing me and being respectful of space, and that we were able to conclude our evening and our following morning with proper protocol. So, shout out to all the friends over this past weekend who made that night so special. I'm glad you could come over, and I'm glad we had a good time together. So, looking forward to doing it next year. And that brings me to Sunday, today, excuse me, aka today. Um, I had gone to regular church service in the morning. It was a really nice service. There were some movie quotes and references that I really appreciated. And from there, I got to spend some time at home after that. And then immediately at around 2-ish in the afternoon, I hopped in the car, packed up my suit, and I was off to a fursuit photo shoot. And this is something that was set up very graciously by one of our locals who is a photographer who I've known for many years actually. And we got to enjoy ourselves, take some pictures, walk around at a local park in suit. And this park was super busy, like it was beyond busy. There were so many people around, and a lot of kids, a lot of families, some older individuals who they just brightened right up when they saw us. Like there were 7 of us or 8 of us in total, suiting, I believe, and we just walked around the woods and the trails, and the sun was dipping below the trees, so it was like the perfect, perfect mood for fursuit photos. So we got a lot of those. Got a lot of poses, a lot of group photos. We got a lot of pictures with people. And as a matter of fact, speaking of that, we had noticed a car that was parked in the same lot that we were. And on the back, there was a graphic that read, just married, as of this date, being October 27th. And we were like, oh, no kidding. Somebody got married the same day. So, sure enough, they were around. And when we found them, they were taking wedding photos at this location that we were. And you better believe that we crashed that photo shoot. Like, when you are having a wedding photo shoot and you see 7 fursuiters walking up the hill, you know, nearby your location, of course you're going to stop and you're going to want to get pictures with them. So we pretty much crashed and disrupted this entire setup of photo shoot that was going on. So, hey, I can't complain. They didn't complain either. They were actually very gracious and very kind. Um, they were bringing their kids over. We were taking pictures with them. Interacting with kids in suit is wonderful because you can get down on their level, give them high fives, take pictures with them. Because what's going on in their reality is, oh my gosh, my plushies have come to life. That's what's going on in their world. It's not just what you see on TV, and it's not just what happens in your fantasy of your plushies coming to life, but here they are in the flesh. Your plushies are walking around and living beings. So it's always a beautiful gift when you get to bring that magic to younger kids and be able to interact with them and just give them the gift that they so rightly, are wanting to see. And it's a way to show them that, things are possible. Dreams are real. You can make your dreams a reality. And in this case, we made their dream a reality by showing them that the real life plushies exist. So, whether or not those kids become furries in the future, you know, that's completely up to them, but I'm sure that they'll look back on those memories and think, wow, that was amazing. And get to interact with fursuiters for the very first time at whatever age. So, again, super, super big treat. One of the more wholesome moments, in fact, the most wholesome moment, I think, of this day while we were out shooting and taking photos was at this little wedding party. There was an older lady. She had to be probably in her 70s, and she had a walker, and she slowly walks right up to me, specifically, because we were all just kind of like, milling about, getting ready to move on to the next area for photos. And the one of the other ladies was like, "Hey, can my mom get a picture with you guys?" I was like, "Absolutely. Oh, no, no doubt about it. Yes, please." And this lady, this older lady, she came up to me and she eyed me up and down And I don't know why she came to me specifically, but she came right to me and she looked at me and she said, "Oh, aren't you precious?" Her words. And then she sat on her walker and she sat her grandkids on her lap, which I thought was really sweet, you know. Get a picture with grandma and the furries, you know. And then, before they took the picture, she looked back at me because I was standing behind her with everybody else for a photo. And she looked back at me and she put her hand up. She said, "Give me your hand, sweetie." I was like, "Okay." So I gave her my paw, and then she immediately put my hand paw to her face, like in a very loving, kind, embracing manner. And I was like shell shocked. I was like, "Oh my gosh. Oh, this is so sweet." And it was like she was being comforted right there. You know, there we are, taking a photo together, and she takes my paw and she puts it on her face, and she has a big smile on her face, I can tell. And they take the photos, and ah, yeah, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it because it really ran me through a whole run of emotions of just like peace, joy, happiness, love, a bunch of things that were going on in my brain. And once we took the photo, she stood back up. She looked at me with a big smile, looked at all of us with a big smile. She said, "Thank you. You made my day." And we all just were like, "Oh my gosh." I think we all wanted to start crying at that moment. It was so nice. Just like the fact that we took the time to do that for her, you know? Um, because she was active and she was out and walking with her walker, but part of me felt like, you know how you can tell when someone is not here for much longer. That was that was the sense that I got was I think she also knew that she didn't have much time left, and I hope to God that she has many more years on this earth with her family, but it was almost like a sentimental thing, her just embracing me like that, embracing all of us together in that moment, just taking a photo, as simple as it is. She saw something special and she took the opportunity because she very well and very rightly so could have stayed back and just admired from a distance, but she didn't. She took the time to give us time, her time, you know, as much as whatever's left of her time. She took those few minutes to just interact and to be with us and to take the opportunity. And this is, I think, in her mind, that's life. This is living right here in this moment. So that was a beautiful thing that happened. And I would not trade that moment for anything. That was such a beautiful picture. I'm so glad that I got a copy of that picture. It was sent to me, and our one of our photographers, or our both of our photographers, actually was able to capture those moments. So I'm going to keep that memory in a picture for as long as I live. Definitely one of the highest points of fursuiting for me was that moment with that lady. I'll never forget it. So that there, my friends, is the magic of fursuiting at its essence. We make people smile, we bring joy to others, we give back what a lot of people probably have missed out on. And this is really what it's all about. Spreading love, joy, cheer, happiness, and just being there for those who probably aren't having a great time right now. We want to show them that, and we want to do that for them. So, to those of you suitors out there, I encourage you, give people the time of day as much as possible because you never know what someone's going through. You never know how much time somebody has left, and you never know what small little difference you can make in someone's life as a fursuiter. Let's not take it for granted. And that is why I do it. So we got a bunch of photos. We finished out the day with some fantastic shots. Yeah, like I said, a lot of people were taking pictures and having fun with us, and some people even we started dancing, and some people came up and danced with us. It was great. Um, and there were a lot of dogs. People were walking their dogs, around this park, and some of them were not very happy to see us, but some of them were. There was a very lovely doggo who came up and was the sweetest, gentlest little thing. I say little. They're a Labrador, I believe, and they sat nice and quietly. They let us pet them and gave us kisses, which was really sweet. And like the dog actually sat down in front of us and took a photo with us. That was so nice. And the people who had the dog were so kind. They were just like, "Oh my gosh, they've never seen anything like this before." And they said that the dog was new to them as well. Like they had just gotten this dog. So it makes me wonder, the dog that we got a picture with, I wonder what that dog has been through. Because the dog didn't look young. She looked maybe, 5 or 6. And I wonder if that dog had been through some things. So even with the least of these and the smallest of things, even if it's something like an animal or a pet, you can make that pet's day as well. So I think we made that for that dog today. So trek back, we made the trek up the hill for some photos and then the trek all the way down. My calves and my hamstrings are screaming at me currently because of all the walking in suit and walking in paws up a dirt path is not ideal. But and on the bright side, I hit 13,000 steps on my watch today, so I was very pleased to see that. And then afterwards, we headed off to get some dinner, and yeah, pretty much like I got a lot of food, and I pretty much just took down the entire thing because when you shoot for a long period of time, you work up an appetite. And let me tell you, I pretty much destroyed what was in front of me, just like quickly, just like inhaled all of it. And afterwards, I just sat back in my chair in that restaurant with all my friends, and I was like, man, this is life right here. This is living. Being fuzzy, hanging out with friends, making people's day, getting pictures and love all around, and finishing off with a nice hearty dinner. So that was a beautiful thing that I got to experience today. And right now, I'm here telling you about this. As tired as I am and as late as it is in the evening, I wanted to share that with all of you and let you know that this was definitely one of the best weekends in the month, if not the year. Aside from conventions, this was a weekend that I will not forget because it was so wholesome. It was full of so much joy, so much gratefulness all around, and I certainly don't want to take any of it for granted because all of it, this entire weekend of events that happened, was a gift. And I'm here now to share it with all of you. And it really, this is really an opportunity for me to tell you about it, but also to let you know that there is beauty in this world. There are beautiful things that you and I can create. There are things that we can make, and we can make miracles out of moments. We can make somebody's day, even if it's a small little gesture, or even if it's something as forward as dressing up as a giant animal and, you know, um, bringing smiles to people's faces. And I can tell you with all honesty that it is worth it every single time. It is such a beautiful thing to be able to do. And just this whole weekend was it was it was something, you know. It was truly something to behold, and I'm so grateful that I get to do this and I get to be a part of this whole thing. And being in this fandom has its ups and downs. Believe me, there have been plenty of ugly moments that I've been a part of. There have been, some relationships that have kind of gone by the wayside for whatever reason. But these are the times that we remember. These are the times that we live. And like I said before, speaking about the older lady that we got to make her day, this is life, and this is how you live life. So I encourage you, friends, go out there and live. Whatever that looks like to you, whether that's fursuiting, whether that's, making art, whether that's, some sort of a media outlet of some kind, whether that's, going to school for a very specific thing, or maybe non-specific, or maybe you need to go and reconcile that relationship. Maybe you need to go tell somebody that you forgive them. Maybe you can go and do some work, to help some people in a charity fashion. Maybe you can go out there and show people what you're made of, even if it's a small thing. It makes a bigger difference than we realize. So, it is currently almost 1:30 in the morning, so I'm going to wrap this up, but I want to thank you all for listening, and once again, I want to encourage you all to go out there and live as much as you can. Remember, memento mori, you know, we have very limited time on this earth. We all meet the same fate sometime or another, and as depressing as that sounds, we can shift our perspective on it and realize that let's utilize the time that we have and make the most of it every single day. And even if you're dreading the next day, I promise you, I promise you, there's always a reason to smile. There's always a reason to laugh. There's always a reason to be content. So, whatever it is in your life that you may be struggling with, that maybe you are having trouble getting your head around, maybe you're having some difficulty in contentment or having difficulty finding your way, I can tell you for certainty that every single day is a bonus. Every day is a gift. There's always a reason to smile, laugh, and be content. And never forget those who are next to you in this whole crazy thing we called life. And on that note, let's remember the Latin phrase Sic Parvis Magna, which is Latin translated to English, is greatness from small beginnings. Remember where you started on your journey, and remember those who brought you up from the start. Keep those in mind who continue to stand by you today, and oftentimes when you lack motivation, go back to your roots and find that you will see some motivation there. And just remember that you're on a journey, you have a purpose to fulfill, and you're not done yet. You're only getting started. So, in that same related topic, be you, be yourself. Don't let anyone ever tell you who you can and can't be or what you can and can't do. Remember that you are created with a purpose, that no one else can fulfill that. There has never been anyone like you in the past. There will never be anyone like you in the future. And there is no one like you right now as we speak. Only you can do the things that you can the way you can. And there is no one like you. You're unique. You are needed. The world needs you. The world doesn't need somebody else. And I encourage you, please, by all means, do not let yourself become somebody else. Because only you can be you. So until next time, this is Samson Kitty Fox. I love you all. I want to thank you all again for your unyielding support and love in this journey. And you help me to live my dream every single day. And I couldn't be more grateful for you. Every single one of you. I thank you. Have a good night. Bye. Love you all.